So in this video, I'm going to run through some exercises you can use to help strengthen up your shoulder if you're suffering with shoulder pain. So we're going to look at shoulder stability, but using no equipment. So it's all body weight exercises, so you can do them anywhere. But if you're suffering with shoulder pain at the moment, it's probably an idea to try the beginner exercises. But if you're coming out that acute phase and you really want to strengthen up your shoulders, then these are great exercises to start doing today. Exercise, you're going to get in a plank position, elbows directly underneath the shoulders, squeeze your glutes, tuck under, flatten out your back. So you're going to hold yourself in a good strong position, and from here the idea is to drop your chest towards the floor and then extend it up towards the ceiling. So you're not moving any of your body, you're just moving your chest up and down. So you're trying to retrain that movement of your shoulder blades. Great. The second exercise, again, is really good for shoulder stability, is the side plank. So you might feel like you need to start off with a beginner side plank, depending on how acute your shoulder is. But ultimately, you want your elbow directly underneath the shoulder, so you don't want your arm out here, because that's going to put too much pressure on the shoulder. You want to tuck it underneath the shoulder, feet on top of each other, raise yourself up, and just make sure everything's stacked on top of each other. So again, like I was saying before, you don't want to have your elbow out here and then raise up. That's going to put a lot of pressure on the shoulder. Tuck it in underneath you, lift yourself up into this position, and hold it for about 30 seconds. So engaging the core, make sure your glutes are switched on as you're squeezing your glutes. You can even place this hand on the shoulder to give it a bit of support if this is your painful side, just to give it, just feels nice to have that extra kind of tension or the support with the opposite hand. And again, just hold it there like you would with any normal plank. So the third exercise, you're going to get into a kneeling press-up position. So from here now, you're going to make sure your body's nice and straight, squeeze your glutes so you're in a strong position, and then you're going to just shift your weight over to the supporting hand, and you're going to gently do a shoulder tap. Bring your hand back to the resting position, shift your weight slightly, shoulder tap. And just repeat for the desired number of repetitions. But again, it's all about creating that stability around the shoulder. Great. The next exercise, you're going to lie on your front. I would recommend getting a towel folded up for your forehead, resting on the floor. You have your arms outstretched in front of you, 10, 11 o'clock, 1, 2 o'clock, thumbs up towards the ceiling. From here, you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades together, raise your arms up, and then you're going to bring your arms all the way back and squeeze them together. And then return it back to the starting position. And that's one repetition. You probably want to perform 10 to 15 on this. The trick is, keep your arms nice and high, don't let them drop down on the way back. So when you bring them up, you bring it through here, don't bring them down and then back to the starting position. You want to raise up, squeeze your shoulders together, keep them nice and high, all the way through the range of movement, and back down to the starting position. And the last exercise is going to be a floor angel. So you're going to need a ball or a block or a foam roller to place between your knees. You're going to lie on your back, feet off the floor, this for a little bit of stability. In this position, we want to make sure we flatten out our back. Okay, so you're going to engage the core, flatten out your back a little bit so there's not a big arch from the curve from your lower back to the floor. You're going to bring your arms back to the the floor here. So you can really feel a stretch through your chest, and you're going to obviously mobilize your upper back. And from here, keeping the backs of your hands, elbows against the floor, flat back, you're just going to reach up towards the wall above your head and bring it back down. And repeat. So you're really going to feel this in the middle of your upper back and through your chest as well, because you're stretching that out. Just make sure that you're not arching your back. So what happens with most people is, as we bring our arms up, we arch our lower back because we don't have the mobility in our upper back to get into that position. So it's key to engage your core, flatten your back out, and then work through the range of movement. And again, 10 to 15 repetitions. Great. So you've got 4 or 5 exercises there you can do anywhere with no equipment to really focus on your shoulder stability. So we're trying to work on your mid and lower traps, your rhomboids, and your serratus anterior. All those muscles that, one, help with your postural position, but also help with the stability of your shoulder blades. Because ultimately, your rotator cuffs all attached to your shoulder blade. So if that's not sitting correctly against your rib cage, and it's not in a stable position when it's moving, you're going to be putting a lot more pressure onto the rotator cuff muscles, which then can lead to shoulder pain. So that's what you're focusing on in these exercises. But another factor to address is the mobility in your upper back as well. So that's why some of these will work on the mobility in your thoracic spine, because if you lack that thoracic mobility, if you're stuck in that rounded forward position, you actually close down a lot of space in the shoulder, and you put your shoulder in a poor position. So you're more likely to aggravate the rotator cuff muscles. You're also likely to get some impingement of the shoulder as well, because you lack that kind of range of movement within the shoulder, because you're closing it down in a rounded position. So you can test that nice and easily. So if you round your shoulders and then try and raise your arms out to the side, you only get so far because you've closed down that space before it starts to pinch. But if you bring your shoulders back and down, open up your spine and your chest, and then bring your arms up, you don't get the same pinching going on because you've got that nice space within the shoulder joint. But again, if you just round your shoulders and go into like kyphotic posture, then you try and raise your shoulders, you get stuck and you're pinching. So that's why we need to focus on open up the upper back, open up the chest, get a good shoulder position. Then we need to look at strengthening the postural muscles, the shoulder stability muscles, to allow you to have that free range of movement and allow the rotator cuff muscles to work correctly in an optimal position.